Welcome to the Black Eyed Barber Show. It's another one. We're still on lockdown, but we've got quite a few interesting guests for this
week. So then, this week's news, Johnny, big story. Also, Mike Tyson obliterating that poor fella on pads and body bag. Who saw that?
I saw it. It was funny how eventually you got a few memes going where when he hit the guy with the last right hand, he flew off into the wall, and then it was funny how he did. It did look good. I got to admit, he did look.
See him looking happy and in shape, weren't it? Rather than bloated and that.
But you can see now the fans are getting carried away with it, saying, "No, let's have a comeback." You know when people do that, they forget. You've got to look at the back end of his career. So that's who he is. That's who he is now, if not worse than that. Number one. Number two.
Yeah.
You know, as a fighter, your hands will always be there. It's your feet. You know, it's a movement in your feet. So you'll get the shots in, bam, 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 bam. You've got to go and chase after him, follow him down and calm him down. It's the feet. He looks brilliant. Hand speed-wise, punch-wise, he looks spot on it. But let's not get carried away when people say he needs to make a comeback.
Well, I put something up yesterday on Twitter, and did you see it? I put up Mike Tyson.
Yes, do you know what?
I put like 86, 88, but amount of people who've come on and say, oh, nobody should stop him what he wants to do. He's passionate, he should be able to. And even if it's an exhibition, and I shouldn't imagine, you've met him more than me, Johnny. I shouldn't imagine Mike Tyson's got that button where he can tell the difference between it's happening in an exhibition or deciding. But you don't, he looks well, he looks healthy, he's got himself in shape. I don't want to be seen, even in an exhibition. I don't know about you, Anne, but I don't want to be seen him getting punched in the head.
No, don't. I see all the videos we've kind of been like, hitting pads, hitting body belts. He looks great, and it's great to see him. Like you said, it's great to see him looking healthy. It's been well documented, the problems that he's had. But let's not, you mentioned it as well in the tweet, I think. Do you know, he fought Kevin McBride, and this is in no disrespect towards Kevin McBride, but Mike Tyson shouldn't have been in a ring with Kevin McBride. He shouldn't have. And so when people say about him, oh, he could still, beat a lot of top 10. It's just mental talk. He couldn't, he couldn't. Mike Tyson couldn't box domestically. I never called him Michael then. He couldn't box domestically, could he? It's unbelievable. But it's brilliant to see these videos, get everyone excited, just to show he's still got the movement, the power, even the speed. But let's not get carried away like anything else to talk like boxing.
Yeah, I think it's romance talk. That's all it is. And listen, I think romantically it's a great idea, but realistically, I think Mike Tyson knows that as well, and he knows whatever he does, anything like that, the fans are going to go mad. And it's news. Any news is good news, so it's news. So yeah, he does look the part.
But if he does exhibitions and it raises money, but you just don't want to be seeing him. What's pointing him now at his age, getting punched in the head, even in exhibitions? But if he wants to raise money, I don't know about you. I'd happily listen. If he boxed an exhibition, it on telly, would I watch it? I wouldn't want to watch it. No. But if I don't head out of theatre and put big screens up for his greatest fights, and he sat there talking about it, I'd pay all day to go in.
Okay, so in reality, Mike Tyson, look at him. Part of the reason why, but apart from his tremendous knockouts and stuff like that, the reason why he was such a draw was his unpredictability, and how he fought, that ruthlessness. Now, is he going to leave that out of the ring if he did an exhibition?
Would you
if he's left out of the ring, what are you going for? What's the spectacle? So basically, you're saying you want to see a lamb to the slaughter and him go and beat somebody else. Nah, I don't. Even that, I just don't. I don't. I think the idea sounds great, but I can't see it.
I'm with you, Johnny, in that sense, and it sounds.
Sorry, Paul, go on.
No, sorry. Oh, sorry. I'm with Johnny in that sense, and it sounds sort of barbaric, but the reason people tune in to watch Mike Tyson, as bad as it sounds, was the violence of it, because he was ruthless. He'd go in there, destroy opponents. And that was it. And a lot of the times you'd see, you'd see a heavy knockout. But like now, do we want to see him sort of touch someone, or if it's not going to be that, it's going to be someone that's just mere lamb to slaughter. So I think just let us enjoy the videos of him working out, looking healthy. Looking the way he is.
Yeah, he looks happy, and that's all anybody wants out of it. It constantly with the last few years.
And we all got excited about when Nigel Benn well, not all, but some got excited about the fact Nigel Benn was coming back. But we forget what was Nigel Benn like at the back end of his career. He's gotten older, so he's not going to get any better. And so therefore, and I think Nigel realizes this now. I think if Tyson was thinking I'll come back, what happens is the realization is this: when you get older, when you get injuries, when you're younger, you can train through it and carry on. When you're older and you get injuries, you can't train through it. You've just got to stop, and it's hard work and it's gassy work. So I think Tyson's probably enjoying doing it at his pace, doing what he's doing, but I don't think it's going to get any further than that.
Well, one thing to finish on that story, you've got to get to that trainer whoever he were with that thin body bag on, taking it flush to body off him. It wouldn't be on my priority list, that would you?
It was funny. It was funny.
Yeah. Can you imagine him just pulling someone saying, "Do me a favour, just stick this over your head for 2 minutes."
I was impressed with a little right hand at the end, though. You could see him thinking, "Oh, do you know, has he come back?" No, it was brilliant to see.
Yeah. So other news this week, a bit of news that's come out is this talk now that they might be looking to pay Wilder step aside money and take Joshua Fury to Saudi Arabia. What do you think to that?
You go first, then. I've got a long one on that one.
With me, I think, do you know what? Listen, I think for me, that is the biggest fight in British boxing history. I don't think I'm speaking out of turn there. And there's two things there now. Like, the biggest fight in British boxing history, ideally, should take place, for me, on a selfish way, would either be Old Trafford or Wembley. I don't believe the biggest fight in British boxing history should go to Saudi Arabia. However, do you know, people say boxing's a business, and if, do you know, it's all right. I'm sure Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua would rather it be in the UK, and but if they're getting offered 5 times the amount to go to, say, Saudi, then they're going to have a lot of people saying, "Listen, put all that aside. You're setting up your kids, your grandkids, their kids, you know."
Generation.
And that's boxing is a business. It is, but then listen, we can't deny the fact it'd be a massive shame if the biggest fight, I keep saying it, in British boxing history didn't happen in Britain. And that's all it's true. I'd love to see it happen in Britain. I really hope it does, but I don't know.
Well, I think if Saudi Arabia are in the mix, it's liable to end up going there. But there's a couple of obstacles first, and that's Wilder and Povetkin. And would step aside. Now, I can imagine Povetkin stepping aside. I can't imagine Wilder doing it, because the things that he said since the last fight and the fight before that, money, he's made a hell of a lot of money. So unless they offer him something ridiculous.
What's ridiculous? And what's a ridiculous number you think he'd take?
5 mil?
I think he'll be. I'm guessing. I reckon he'll get, to step aside for that fight, I reckon he could get himself $15 million.
Right, okay, so therefore he steps aside. So they both step aside, but then the argument is for Povetkin and Wilder, they fight the winner, so which one gets it? That's the argument. Because remember, Povetkin, AJ's mandatory.
Pulev.
Pulev's AJ's mandatory. And obviously Wilder's is Fury's mandatory. So therefore, that's where your argument is. You've got Pulev, Wilder. That's the take step aside money. But again, it's another lot of arguments about you step aside again. You could possibly have 2 fighters getting paid a ridiculous amount of money, not to fight. But I would think. I'd be surprised if Wilder did it. I'm surprised if Wilder stepped to the side.
What? Self-10.
Tell you, I'd just be surprised. I just think he's just got too much. He's got too much pride, and the things he said and done after the fight. I just think if he really believes that he shouldn't have lost to Tyson Fury, he was injured and whatever was going on, he want to right that wrong and not give anybody a chance to beat Fury. If he really believes it. If he doesn't, then all right, then he'll make a chance about it and keep himself in the mix.
The other thing is, what do you think to this, Sam? We're all talking about mandatories, aren't we? What about mandatories?
Yeah.
If they can go to Saudi Arabia and get $40, $50, $60 million each, do they care about it? Are they bothered? Do they just say, you know what?
Exactly, yeah. You know what? That's just common sense, that. Yeah, when you think about it, they'll be, and that might be to the point where they think, you know, AJ might think, well, I'll tell you what, I'll give up the IBF, and keep, rather than paying step aside money to Pulev. That's, do you know what? That's like the simplest sort of thing there. But now when you think about it, do I keep my IBF title and pay a few million pounds step aside money, a few $1 million step aside money, or do I just give it up and then if I win this fight,
don't matter.
You know, it'll come back. It's just, yeah, so I don't see the mandatories being a problem, and I think that's where I believe, but I don't know how Fury's tied in with contracts and stuff like that. But I'm sort of, I think different, because I know Wilder has spoke a lot of rubbish and how he feels, and he's not handled defeat the best. And like Johnny said, if he really believes that's true, he wouldn't let money step aside for 5 million, 10 million, which he could easily get. You know, if it went to Saudi, then I think he'd soon change his mind.
Yeah, and the other thing is this: going to Saudi Arabia, I think you can't blame them. For doing it. Can't blame them. I told the story earlier on. I remember when Carlton Palmer played for Sheffield United, and he played for Leeds United, and we were out in Josephine's one night. This guy was giving him some right shit, you know, because he was leaving it, and I mean, they were proper badgering him. So I pulled the guy. I said, "Where'd you work?" He said, "Fletcher's Bakery." I said, "Right, Sunbless is across the road from Fletcher's Bakery in Sheffield. If they paid you twice as much for doing the same job across the road, would you go?" He said, well, yeah. I said, "So what's the difference?" And so with AJ and Fury, they're going to think, you know what, you know, this is big. You're all going to see it still, and they're going to make ridiculous money out of it. Probably, morally, you'd think, "Nah, don't do it." I think most people, 99% of people, would do it. Say, "I'm going to do it."
That's what I was trying to say. It should happen, no matter what. It should happen in Britain, but realistically, whether we like it or not, it probably wouldn't.
Do you think if it does go there, do you think, like Ant's saying, and it's true, John, innit, you'd have to argue that it's probably the biggest fight ever that Britain's ever had. Will it take some of the shine off that? Will it be looked back on the same? Like people still talk about, you know.
Well, how about this one?
Still talk about Henry Cooper rally in London. Will it be talked about?
Yeah.
Okay, so
that's a black eye for boxing, without a doubt.
So, and what about Saudi Arabia when Anthony Joshua fought Ruiz again? Saudi Arabia was a subplot, but you're just thinking that, I know, you know, the main story is Anthony Joshua beat Ruiz. He came back and beat, you know. So that's the subplot. So now with this one, if the fight lives up to expectations, I think you know what, you'll just think, you know what, he was in Saudi Arabia, but what a fight. It's the same with Ali and Foreman in Zaire. You know, the political situation around at the time, it was ridiculous. But then all you talk about is the fight, because the fight was that big. The fight did such an amazing job.
Yeah, it might be forgotten about. Like, say, at the time, it seemed like might be a bit of a black eye, you know, for boxing or whatever. And that's no disrespect to Saudi, because you've been over there, I've been over there themselves, and they treat you great. But it might soon be forgotten about if they deliver. Everyone will be talking about the fight. All the build, of course, will be loads of talk. I mean, I'm doing it a little bit now. But all the build up, there'll be a lot of talk sort of saying it's not right and it should be in the UK. But if they delivered in the ring, people will be talking about that one. They'll be talking about the fight, they won't be talking about where the fight took place.
So, come on, off fence. Does it happen? 2 answers. Does it happen? And where does it happen? Crawler, go.
If it happens, does it happen? I don't think it happens next. I don't think it happens next. That's my honest opinion. And if it does happen, I think it'll probably be in Saudi. As much as I'd like to see it in the UK.
I totally agree with him. There's no change there. I don't think it happens next. But I do think if it does happen, well, when it eventually happens, it'll be Saudi. That'll be where the door is. That's when the money is.
For once, we all concur. I'm saying I'm not sure it happens next. I think they'll want to build it a bit more than they are than now. And I think the money that probably Saudi will put up, I think that's where it'll end up.
Yeah.
So, fellas, this week, British Boxing Board say boxing, the plans they are looking at is it comes back, 5 fight shows, no crowd, in a hotel, domestic only fights. What do we think of that?
I think it's going to be weird, and I think I said it last week. I think for the first 6 months of boxing coming back, you are going to see a couple of upsets. And the reason being is because it's a level playing field. Guys that usually don't get as much notice as their opponent have had all the notice in the world because all they could do is actually train and get ready to fight. So, and usually what happens is, if you're not mentally on it, a fighter that would beat you, I could box you now, Rich, and box you in an empty hall, and you'd beat me. I could box you again in a place full of 20,000 people, and I'd beat you. You know, and it's that mental strength to think, right, I've got to still be on form, because it'd be like a glorified heavyweight sparring session.
Yeah,
that's what it'll be. And you've got to understand. I know a lot of the top amateurs. A lot of the times, people don't realise this. They outboxed in empty halls all over the world, you know, to get to where they got to.
Yeah.
But it's show business. So therefore, and if it's on TV, the whole thing's not putting the show on. And if it's stale, we might end up shooting ourselves in the foot. So they've got to put something on that makes up for the lack of a crowd, make a bit of an extravaganza about it. I know Eddie announced he was going to do something. I'm curious to see what he does or what he brings in to make up for that.
I think when you mentioned sort of Eddie there announcing something, it seems a fight that keeps getting mentioned to happen is White Povetkin, isn't it?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, that, doesn't he, for no crowd?
It does keep getting mentioned, and do you know what? You imagine anything would do decent pay-per-view figures, but I sort of going, you know, what the question was like, so how's it going to be? We don't know how it's going to work, do we? And I think the boxing board are doing their best to make things, you know, to try and get things back to normal when given the go-ahead. But I don't care, like, no matter the rules that have been put out today, they're going to be tried to be followed the best they can, but they're not going to get followed to the letter, are they? It's almost impossible.
Yeah, and the other thing is this: no matter what ideas or plans we have or any sport has, they've got to adhere to what the government says. So if it's no. So if the government say, on your head be it, if you put a show on, again, and I said it before, a promoter will think, if I put a show on and someone gets COVID-19 or claims to have got it whilst they're at my show, then I'm liable. So the government basically said, on your head be it. So if the government say, yeah, off you go, boys and girls, put your shows on, you're all right, then they'll be different. So nobody can make any plans. You can be optimistic to say we're going to do this, that, and the other, but you can't really make any solid plans until we know where we stand in regards to this lockdown.
I think one thing to consider with gate on a fight like White Povetkin is, so say you do it, was that going to be at O2, that, Johnny? Where weren't it?
Yeah.
Just take gate from that, I don't know, $1 million, $1.25 million, and a lot of that will go on higher than you want it, or undercard, all that. If you're not really putting much of an undercard on, because instead of 10 fights, you've got 4 fights, and you don't need to play O2, can you save a bit of money there? Is it so important on that? But
the thing is, the 2 fighters that I believe that a crowd or no crowd are making a difference are these 2.
Yeah.
These 2, they'll fight. Instead of saying, I'll fight in the car park. You know, these are the 2 fighters. I'll say, let's do it now.